I'm here with Luke Oliver, Head of Strategy at KraneShares, to dig into some of the biggest challenges and opportunities investors are facing today. Luke, welcome.
Thank you.
So let's get to the million-dollar question then. What challenges are investors seeing right now?
Well, we've always lived in this environment, or at least for the last 10, 15 years, of US equities performing very well, and any sort of diversification has tended to have detracted from returns. So investors have this issue now where we are seeing, US equities are very rich. We're seeing increased volatility. We have inflation, and we also have things like the US dollar. Like we've got so much debt, and we've got rates that should start to come down at some point. And certainly it's been telegraphed from the top that we want a weaker dollar so we can be more competitive globally. So with that happening, how do you position for that? You almost want a non-US dollar based investment, but at the same time, do you really want European equities or debt? Or where do you want to go that's better than the US? And so the challenge for investors is finding those true alts. And a lot of folks are going towards private markets, which is the dawn of private markets for everybody. But is that actually going to increase the correlations of those alts? Because after all, it is equity or credit. And so is it going to really be that different from equities and credit? So that's where I think we come in to really think about how do you get real alts.
So how does KraneShares then help investors with this situation?
Yeah, well, this is just a joke of mine, not a company joke. But I often joke, like, what is a true alternative? What's the perfect alternative? And ideally, you would find an economy on Mars that's just like the US economy, but has no connection to absolutely anything that happens on Earth. And that way, you would have same sort of risk and return, but you wouldn't have any correlation. So what's the closest thing to that in real life? Well, if you take our flagship product, KWEB at China. So what KraneShares does is we focus on China, on climate solutions, and also on alternatives. So this is in our wheelhouse. So take our flagship KWEB. This is a company that holds Chinese companies that is selling mostly to Chinese people. So it's got much less dependency on the outside market. So it's about as close to that analogy of the Martian economy as you can get. But where we also see very strong alternatives is going into the carbon space, where we have these markets that have developed over the last 15 years or so that have all these factors that do not correlate and make them have low correlation or having structured returns. So it kind of starts to look like a structured product, but it's in a market mechanism. So that's something that we're pioneers in as well as China.
So what is the number one opportunity then for investors today?
Well, for me, that is this carbon market that I'm talking about. And what that is, it's the price of carbon. And we're seeing this increase globally. So right now, about 25% of the global economy is covered by a cap and trade program. So this is not ESG, this is not planting trees. This is a price mechanism in place, essentially like a permit system. It's $1 trillion market, hiding in plain sight. Institutions, large single-family offices are all starting to deploy capital into these markets, and the wider audience knows nothing about them. And so I'm always telling people, this is not a small niche corner of the market. This is $1 trillion market. And what's really interesting, and why this is so important, is the European Union, which is sort of the leader in this, has now created a carbon border adjustment. And so what's happening is every other country in the world is putting this in place. We've seen India, China, Turkey, and then you've also got Australia, New Zealand. The state of California, fifth largest economy in the world, already has a program. And then just recently, we saw the Republicans, believe it or not, you might think this sounds like a left type thing. The Republicans have putting carbon tariff on foreign imports. And so this is a global phenomenon that we're right at the beginning of. And that's what we have offerings in. We have 3 ETFs in the US, a private fund, and an ETF in Europe. So we're very well positioned to help people with this idea.
Well, certainly an opportunity to watch. Luke, thank you so much for your insights.
Thank you.
For wealthmanagement.com, I'm Shannon Rossick.